Welcome to Activations with JJ, April 2023 monthly energy update. The themes for this month are further developing your psychic senses, more grounded approaches to Ascension, advanced lightworkers being called to write their own books and create their own healing modalities, and understanding the new world post soul integration and timeline integration. Hello, my dear friends. Here we are at another monthly energy update. As I started in January by encouraging you to really step into your spiritual sovereignty, I want to give you my reminder that when you listen to my themes, I want to encourage you to then sit down and come up with your own themes. Allow yourself to tap into your own intuition and decide what your personal themes for April 2023 are. I truly believe that when I am channeling the themes that I'm sensing for April or any month as it is, that I am reaching into the collective energy to read into that. And that doesn't mean that you personally won't have additional themes that come up for you. Just want to make sure you remember that. All right, so as you noticed, there were 4 themes. I thought the number 4 was nice for the month. That is the number 4 month. But I do want to recap what we did go through in March 2023. That month has now come to an end. I know that it was somewhat emotionally up and down for many of you, energetically up and down. I truly believe that dealing with all of the timeline collapsing and merging, that it really just ended up being a little bit challenging, to say the least. I felt that all in February, which was fascinating. And as people were dropping in and connecting with me and saying, I'm going through this and I'm going through that, in March, I thought, well, why am I not feeling that personally? I did feel it in the collective, but I wasn't feeling it personally. And my guides reminded me, they said, well, you kind of went through all this in February. Some of us who are light workers are priming the collective for the energies that are to come. And so we're experiencing it, 4 to 6 weeks in advance. I don't know if that resonates with any of you or if any of you have experienced that, but I know that I have. It doesn't mean that you're better than all of the people who are experiencing it later than you. It just means that certain ones of us have our preferences and we've chosen to do that. And as we dive into the themes, you'll notice that the 4th theme is connected to all of the themes for March. Not all of them, but some of them. In addition to dealing with those ups and downs and the timeline collapses and merging for March 2023, I also felt so strongly called to do grid work. And so what you're going to notice over this next little while, and it started with my Manhattan event. When I did that event, it was originally designed to occur in person only, and then I felt called to bring in a virtual aspect. It was an incredible gathering. If you have time to grab the playback from my shop, you can click on the link below if you're listening in YouTube. But the Manhattan Starseed Planetary Gridwork playback is there, and you can participate after the fact with us. But that was such a fun and just expansive event that really opened my eyes to what we can do as light workers. And the other interesting thing is that, as many of you know, I ended up creating a podcast episode solely dedicated to the topic of planetary grid work. And when I did that, and there's a couple of reels I did as well, I had so many of you reach out to me and say, I felt called to do grid work. How do I do grid work? So although I don't have any sort of course on that at the moment, I do feel like the grid work is infused into everything I do, and that I might end up continuing to develop more events, more offerings that are solely focused on that concept. So all of my weekly gatherings, I do the weekly virtual gatherings, we end up doing grid work in every single one. I've now set the intention that every single in-person event I do is also dedicated to grid work. And I'll talk a little bit about what I have coming up in the next little while after I've moved through some of these themes, but I'm excited for what's coming up. I'm excited to dive into these April themes with you. So here we go. Our first theme is something that actually came through last month. Sometimes a theme will come through 2 months in a row, or I'll talk about it in a couple podcasts in a row. You might notice that. If I do that, please know that that is our guides encouraging us to really lean into that topic and just really solidifying the fact that it is indeed an important theme. This one is further developing your psychic senses. Now, this one has come through since the beginning of the year. And the reason why is because I truly feel that we are all being called to become our own psychics, our own healers, our own activators. And that takes some time. But in order to do that, we are also needing to really sharpen our psychic senses. Along with sharpening your psychic senses is learning how to navigate those energies. Sometimes when we start to activate and awaken things, if parts of us are unhealed or still holding on to programming of fear or duality, then we get overwhelmed or we get afraid because things are coming through that we feel a little bit out of control. So in every single offering that I have that's related to a little bit of activation of those psychic senses, whether it's a weekly gathering, because even though that's not the intent of the gathering, we truly are developing those senses in every one of those gatherings, or maybe a bigger course or workshop. All of those include releasing fear and stepping into our sovereignty. At the same time, we activate our clairsentience, our claircognizance, our clairvoyance. Now, last year, I created 2 separate psychic activation workshop events, and those offerings went really, really well. I enjoyed being able to connect with you and do exactly what I just said. So I have decided that during the month of April, I will go ahead and offer a psychic activation workshop. I'm not going to go into the details now, but you can find out more through the link below. And if you wait till the end of the podcast episode, I can give you all the times and help you understand a little bit more about what that involves. Now, the interesting thing is the Spirit didn't make it simply about, activate your psychic senses, become more clairvoyant, become more clairsentient, or whatever it was. Spirit said, hang on, listen carefully. This isn't just about people who are at the beginning of their spiritual journey. We are encouraging those who are quite advanced in their psychic senses, even those who have years and years of work in all of the different realms, using all of these kinds of gifts. We are inviting them to go one step further. And so not only will I be offering my psychic activation workshop here in April 2023, but I have been shown the timeline where I might potentially go further than that and offer an intermediate level in May, and then a deep dive level after that. I feel it coming, and I want you to just kind of keep that in the back of your mind as you're working through these things. For my beginning workshop, this psychic activation workshop, which I call it beginning, but truly it'll meet you at the level you're at. That particular workshop will be facilitated by me alone, but when I co-create these additional workshops, I will be bringing in some of my friends who are very gifted psychics, and we will be supporting you together. So you can keep an eye out for that. One last item that I want to let you know, one of the reasons why I feel that we're being invited to further develop our psychic senses, whether we're beginning, intermediate, or advanced, whatever level we're at, this has to do with the grid work. I know it does. In order for us to carry out the level of grid work that we're going to be asked to carry out in this, next 6-7 months, we need to get ourselves we need to get exercise. We need to start lifting weights. And the thing that's funny is that they're like, yes, have everybody work on their own individual psychic senses. Like I'm doing it in groups, obviously, with these courses and these workshops. But the thing is that we are being invited to do that so that we can come together en masse in groups as collectives, and not just virtually, but in person, as I've been shown, to carry out this grid work. And we are going to be able to do that much more easily with these really well refined and more advanced psychic senses and psychic abilities coming online for us. So that's your invitation. I want you to sit with that and ponder that and think about how you can begin to really lean in and exercise those psychic muscles over the next little while. All right, moving on to theme number 2. I'm going to start off by telling you a little story. So I often talk with some of my lightworker friends about some of the experiences that we go through. Obviously, keeping things confidential, as the work that we do with our clients is very sacred and we honor that. But there are themes that come in and there are things we navigate that we're like not sure what's going on. And so we sometimes work through those by discussing them with each other. And I often speak with my friend Monica about things that come up in sessions, and we tend to have synchronicities there. And so then we sort of think, well, okay, why is this coming up? What can we do to help? You know, what's the issue and what's the solution? And so one of the things that we've noticed is that people will come into a session with us really anxious to be on their spiritual path, to be on their spiritual awakening in their development, in all those spiritual areas. But their physical realm, their 3D life, is a mess. And sometimes when people come to me, they don't always tell you those not so pretty parts of their physical 3D life, whether it be rocky relationships, issues with jobs, other things like that. Now, some people do, and it doesn't really matter either way because I kind of just meet people where they're at. The only reason I mention this is that Spirit has brought forward to me that sometimes there's a little bit of programming in the spiritual community that creates this spiritual realm as a way to escape the 3D, not as a way to help the 3D part of our lives. And so what came into my awareness was the fact that we really need to incorporate a little bit more grounding into the Ascension journey, a little bit more real world, real life application so that our physical world isn't chaotic. Because when our physical world is chaotic and we're trying to accelerate our spiritual learning, there's a little bit of a dissonance there in our life and it's imbalanced. And then, as I was thinking about this, a lot of people ask me, JJ, how do you do so much but stay grounded? How do you handle all this? Now, many of you know that I have my 3D life. I have a lot of family responsibilities. I have several children that take up my time and my energy, and that's one of them, running the household like that. I do share that with my partner, but still, we're both working in that area. And speaking of my partner has a background in the realm of psychology and more sort of these more practical, cognitive, behavioral type approaches to personal development. And I have to say that my partner, by and large, is a wonderful grounding influence in my personal life because they see that you cannot just live in all the woo-woo, high-vibe realms and not make sense of your 3D life. It's very, very difficult to do that. And in the end, it creates a lot of dissonance and chaos, like I mentioned. It just feels like something's off. I know all of you know what I'm talking about because I'm sure you've dealt with that, where there is sort of this balance between like working on that spiritual aspect and then working on your 3D. But again, if you're super deep into one or the other and there's not an equal realm for each one and an equal place in your life for each one, that's where I think we start to feel like something's off, something's wonky, something is, like we feel stuck. And I think it's because you literally it's almost like the analogy of having 2 feet. And when you move one foot forward, you got to move the other foot forward. When you move your spiritual life and your spiritual development forward, you've got to move some things in your physical realm forward. And I know that this has a lot to do with even timelines. I've talked about it. I had a recent reel that a lot of you resonated with about relationships. So back to what I was saying about my partner being a very strong grounding influence in my life. We've toyed around with the idea for quite a while. The two of us having been in our relationship for over 25 years, we do have, a few thoughts, a few things to say about the concept of relationships. And of course, this balance between the grounded and then the spiritual. And so what we've decided to do was just co-create a workshop. And so my partner Michael and I will be presenting this workshop during the month of April. Again, I'll wait to the end to tell you all the details, where we discuss how to navigate 5D relationships in a way that allows you to stay anchored into the real world. And this is actually, again, Michael's first foray into this little bit more spiritual realm. But again, I really felt called. I know that the two of us obviously have soul contracts together to assist people on their journeys in the different ways and using our different gifts. And we're mixing our magic, like I always say when I'm doing collaborations. We're mixing our magic. And this isn't just a workshop for people who are in a relationship right now. It's for people who want to be in a relationship. And it's not just a romantic relationship. It's people who are navigating all different kinds of relationships. So again, I'll put the details below in a link, but spend a little bit more time talking about that at the end of the episode. Okay, moving on to theme number 3. This theme is actually specifically for advanced light workers. Now, if you don't feel like you're an advanced light worker, don't ignore this because it could still apply to you, but I really want to get your attention. If you are a light worker who is experienced, who has years of whatever it be, whether it's Reiki or energy healing, or, you're a psychic, Akashic Records reader, whatever it is you do, even for those of you who feel like you're advanced and it hasn't been very long, but you've really taken this, very fast journey to where you're at today. So whatever, however long it's taken you, I'm calling out to you. Listen up. There are 2 things that those of you who are in this category are being called to do. And I know this is going to resonate with you because I worked with several of you over the last few months. The first thing is writing your own book, writing a book, okay? And the second thing is creating your own healing modality. Now, if that resonates with you, and I know it will for some of you, and also I'm telepathic, so I already connect with who's listening. I love that. I can feel that. There's a sense of overwhelm that sometimes comes with those invitations. Am I not right? I mean, I'm sitting here. I have not written my own book yet, although it's come up several times. I have done the modality, so I have a little bit of experience in that. But I want to let you know there are many, many resources out there for you to carry this out, and I want to be a resource. I want to help you in those ways. So you might notice that over the next little while, I might be adding content to help you with this. But I'm also opening up a handful of mentorship spots. And normally my mentorship is really broad. I focus on a lot of things. I kind of just cater to whatever the person's wanting to do with their journey. And it's pretty intensive. I do 4 one-on-one sessions with you, among other things. But in this case, I am only offering a handful of spots for people who want to do one of those 2 things I mentioned. Write your own book and create your own healing modality. Now, I have already done this with some people, and so I do have a bit of experience in it. It's really enjoyable for me. It's a co-creation, and if you're wondering, well, how does that work? Like, can I just sit down and do it? You absolutely can. Just sit down and do it by yourself. One reason that I felt called to do it and why people have brought it up to me is because I allow you to sort of sit back and be the receiving of what's going to come through. And I simply mirror to you what your higher self and guides are already wanting to drop in. And sometimes energetically, it just helps to have someone else lifting a little bit that side of things, because obviously in 4 hours with me, you're not going to write an entire book or create an entire healing modality. So I am there to play the role, which my title and my account always says, Activations with JJ. I will be there to help activate in you the seeds, which will flourish as you water them and all those good things with that analogy, to create and come to, really bring and manifest this book or this healing modality. I have never, ever created a mentorship offering that was so specific. I've never even felt called to do that. I am very much like, oh, we'll just go with the flow, whatever comes through. And Spirit was like, this is what you're being called to do right now. So if that resonates, again, check out the link below. All right, we're moving into our fourth and final topic. Actually, there are a few other topics, but I'm going to talk about that in a second. I'll call them subtopics. This is going to be a fun episode. It already has been, right? But this is our last one. We're coming to the end. This one is a follow-up from last month. Okay, so last month, I don't know if you remember, but one of the themes was integrating soul aspects, and another one was timeline collapsing. And I can't even remember if those came in the March monthly energy update or those came after the fact, because you all know that during the month, things will drop in and I'll be like, ooh, I thought of another theme, or Spirit showed me another theme, or I can feel a lot of you are experiencing this. What is life like in the aftermath of having integrated all these soul aspects and or experienced the collapse of all these timelines? And I call it can be called timeline integration. I kind of thought that was a good word for it. How do you move forward? What's your life to be like? Now, the interesting thing is that I never even got a download when I was coming up with the themes for this month about details on that. I feel like it was only put there for you to think about, because I feel like some of you are kind of like, what's next? Or at least if you haven't already felt that, you're going to, as things begin to fully solidify and integrate over the next couple of weeks. You might still have been in the throes of March, even bleeding into April. But I do know that you're going to come to a point and you're going to go, things are settled. What's next? So that's just something to let simmer, to let digest. It's a very brief topic, but nonetheless an important one. Now, as I mentioned, there are some subtopics. All Spirit asked me to do with these subtopics is to drop them in as a list, to bring them into your awareness. Sometimes I say words just to get you thinking, and that's what I'm going to do. So here's the additional list of themes that came through as I was tuning into April 2023. Are you ready? Vortexes, portals, and stargates, Lemurian past lives and energies, Avalon past lives and energies, working in the void and calibrating the body to do so, more work in the quantum realm, working with Merlin, working with AI, 5D AI, I should say, curiosity, and bringing in your inner child on your spiritual journey. Okay, so those are going to be listed below, so you don't have to take out something to write with. I've got those all listed below. All the themes are in the description of the podcast. And I also send out a monthly energy update in a written format, and you can receive that if you are on my mailing list. So if you're not on my mailing list, I want to encourage you to do so. Okay, we have come to the point in this month's energy update where I'm going to just give you a few more details about what I have coming down the pipeline as far as virtual events, in-person events, workshops, courses, and gatherings. So put your seatbelt on. This is quite a few things, but it's always fun to co-create with you, whether it be in person or whether it be virtually, because I enjoy all of this group stuff that we're doing as lightworkers. It really feels so powerful when we gather together. And by the way, if you're visual like me and all of this is just a blur going in one ear and out the other, please know everything is down in the description to the podcast episode. All the links, all the dates, everything that you need is down there, so don't get too overwhelmed. But it is just fun to kind of get an idea of the different ways that we can co-create over this next 4 weeks. All right, we're going to start off with my Star Mother's Circle of Wisdom course. That actually begins on April 9th, and I am going to co-facilitate that course with my friend Queenie of Reiki and Flow and my friend Katie Jane of And Crystals, a super powerful workshop. If you haven't listened to my podcast episode all about the Star Mothers, you'll have to take a look and see. That's just the one that came out right before this one. Moving along, after that, I've got my Avalon group past life regression. That is going to occur on April 15th. Now, I already did a group past life regression for the Atlantean. We did 2 of those, one in December and one in January, and those were incredible. I've been feeling drawn to connect with the Avalon energies. This is Merlin, England, the Druids, the Celts, and also if you have Andromedan starseed roots or are connected to the Andromedans in any way, you will love this past life regression workshop. So again, that's on April 15th. The day after that is our 5D relationships workshop, which I referred to in this episode. I will be co-facilitating that with my partner, Michael, and we'll be able to kind of just give you some tips and ideas and tools to navigate relationships from a practical standpoint, but also keeping in mind the spiritual dimension of it. It'll be a really cool blend of energies there. Then we have my April 22nd Los Angeles Lemurian Activation Day Retreat. That will occur actually in Beverly Hills in that area, and that is for in-person attendance. I'm really thrilled to co-create again with Queenie. We did our Goddess Day retreat in January, and this is another incredible retreat that you have the opportunity to attend. In fact, we really feel like we're preparing month by month for our new Golden Age of Lemuria retreat style conference that will be occurring in Kauai, Hawaii in September. Every time I talk about it, I just get so excited. And for those of you who are connected with Lemuria in any way, you absolutely want to be there. We have a variety of payment plans. Now's the time to sign up so that you can just get on that payment plan and it won't be a huge, amount in your pocketbook. It'll just be a little bit at a time. It's literally, we've got so many people. We've got Katie Jane from And Crystals. We've got Flo Karuna from Starseed Codes. We've got Alma Sophia with Sonic Love Alchemy, just incredible presenters and more. You'll have to look at the website. The link is below for that too. I could go on and on about it. Can you tell? So back to that, the Los Angeles retreat is on April 22nd. Okay, moving right along. We have our Psychic Activation Workshop. That's going to occur over 2 different Sundays. It's an hour and a half per time, April 23rd and April 30th. That we will be covering, as I kind of mentioned a little bit in this podcast episode, all of the clairs, not only talking about tools and tips on how to enhance your clairs, but I will literally be doing activations, bringing in channeled messages from our guides on how you specifically can help activate, enhance, expand your clairs. So that's a really fun opportunity to just grow and grow and grow in that area. I also have all of my regular weekly virtual gatherings, and those occur typically on a Saturday or a Sunday. You can check out the link below. It'll take you to all of them. I'm not going to list them all out. Many of you are familiar with what they are. Those are really fun ways to receive healing and to do grid work and connect with energies like the galactic family. We've got fairies, dragons, and all kinds of other ones that we're offering on a weekly basis. Now, I want to take one more moment and mention an event that is occurring in May, but it's occurring at the beginning of May, so I kind of want to give you a heads up now. This one will be taking place in person in the Portland area. So if you are in Portland and you want to be informed as soon as I know all the details, because I don't even have a link ready yet, I want you to go ahead and make sure you sign up for my email list. You can go to my website and do that. I'm really excited about all these in-person opportunities, my friends. All right, we're finally to the very end of this podcast episode. Just to recap what those themes were, we have number 1, further developing your psychic senses based on your level of skill. Number 2, taking a more grounded approach to ascension by bringing your physical world and your spiritual world into balance. Theme number 3, advanced lightworkers are being called to write books and create their own healing modalities. And then finally, theme number 4, trying to understand this new world post-soul integration and post-timeline collapse / merging / integration. Lots going on there. I'm excited to dive into that last topic a little bit more. I'm hoping to do a podcast episode later this month, but I would love to hear your thoughts on it. You can drop those right here in this if you're listening on YouTube. I would love for you to co-create that way. As a reminder, it always helps if you like and subscribe to the YouTube channel if you're listening on YouTube. If you're listening on Spotify or Apple Podcast, it doesn't hurt to leave the review on Apple Podcast or to hop over to YouTube and just like and subscribe there, simply because as we build our community, more and more people will have access to what I am doing because, of course, the algorithm will take us all across the world wherever we need to go and deliver this content to lightworkers who are looking for it. My friends, as always, I am sending you so much love, so appreciative of your willingness to co-create by listening to this podcast and by attending any of the events, any of the offerings. I feel your love from everywhere. It's just incredible. And I am reminding you that I am you and you are me and we are we. Have a fantastic April. Until next time.